Welcome to the Psychic News Report. Today, my special colleague Rick Paul and I are bringing you a super fun featurette. Rick, how are you today?
I'm absolutely wonderful, and knowing what's coming up, we are going to have a laugh, definitely.
So, we're typically dealing with some pretty heavy topics of late on the Psychic News Report. So, we wanted to bring something a little bit fun, and we talked about it in our Thursday show. Rick, what do we think of this?
Yeah, if he was one of those sort of posh actors that went, darling, this is just, what does my agent think of all of this? Oh dear, misrepresentation or funny hoax. Well, we'll see what we get into with this, but expect no seriousness. Expect the unexpected, and we'll see what comes out of this as we work our way through it.
I'm going to bring some seriousness because Gregopedia has been asking me for a puppy. And seeing this, I'm like, I think I need a Panda Chow. I think I need one. So, for those of you that didn't see our show on Friday, we did tease this featurette. And what happened? There is a zoo in the Taizhou Zoo. Had an exhibit of pandas that turned out to be painted chow dogs. Now, when I say painted, that is just a grooming term. These are actually, it's really cool. I didn't know this, and neither did Rick. This is a thing. People will get chows and they will paint them or dye them to look like pandas. And there's been a number of episodes with this. In 2019, there was a dog cafe in Sichuan. It's a Southwest province, and they had a selection of these dyed dogs in the cafe. If you're not familiar with pet cafes, they're really, really well represented in Japan. Japan has a lot of cat cafes. China has some dog cafes where you can go and you can have a cup of tea, have a sandwich, and hang out with some animals. So maybe you live in an apartment, you can't have an animal, and you just want to scratch that itch. So, there was this dog cafe again in Sichuan that was protested by some animal rights groups. So there are some feelings about doing this to animals. Also, in the same province in 2020, there was a report of a panda being walked by a woman. It turned out to be one of these painted dogs, and just a really cute thing. There are other zoos in China that have been accused of using animals, using dogs to represent other wildlife, wolves, those sorts of things. And last July, this is actually the most significant of these reports in Zhejiang. This is an eastern province in China. There was a zoo that actually had to defend the sun bear exhibit that they had because the sun bear stood up and was behaving in a very human fashion. And visitors had made reports that this was a human in a fur suit. Experts have debunked this, that it was actually a sun bear and that human couldn't possibly withstand the excessive temperatures that they have there in a fur suit. So, this is kind of a thing. But doing my research, I found out that this is also a thing. So you can get a retriever tiger or a giraffe poodle or zebra or a variety of other wildlife. I do have some concerns. I think the camel poodle is amazing. I kind of want a camel poodle myself. The little foxy dog at the bottom is remarkable. We do have wild fox that come into our yard. And one of my concerns would be that, if someone saw that, they may think that it was a pest in the neighborhood. But we go into the whole, capital Hunger Games kind of zone on this one with hybrids eventually showing up like this one. So now that we've shared some of these unique presentations of dogs, Rick and I have some questions. So we're going to use some cards. We're going to use conversation with Spirit, and we're just going to see, you know, what the zoo was thinking. Apparently, they're taking a little bit of heat. The Taizhou Zoo is taking some heat. To date, the pandas are still on exhibit, and they are claiming that this was an intended presentation. They don't have any pandas at the zoo. Is this some back talk? We're going to look at the cards and we're going to talk to Spirit and see if it is. But I'll link the articles in the description of this video. So, and as always, we're a brand new channel. We want you guys to like, share, please subscribe. We need as many subscribers as possible. We're approaching 200, and it's I guess our second week as an independent channel here. So we really would like to get as many people on board as possible so we can keep bringing you this amazing content. So let's see. First question, why would the zoo do this? And I'm going to pull some cards. And I'll make the card view a little bit bigger so we can talk about it, Rick, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So my initial reading on this is we've got this 5 of Cups. I don't think it was so much a disappointment that they couldn't have a panda in there. I honestly think it was going to be too much work to have a panda there. I don't know what is involved in housing and caring for a panda. Fortunately, we don't have any. Greg and I did make some jokes about it because we had a bamboo forest in our backyard when we first got this house, and we toyed around with, hey, maybe we should get a panda and solve all of our problems. But I think having the panda was going to be a bit too much for the zoo, and so they said, "Why don't we do this?" Was it a lark? I don't think so. The 6 of Pentacles in reverse makes me think that they're trying to pull the wool over someone's eyes. The 6 of Pentacles, when it's in the upright, is generosity, working with people, trying to give as a good bang for your buck kind of thing. But when it goes into reverse, it seems like it's a little bit of a hoax here. And that 10 of Swords, they got caught. They got busted. Up top, World in reverse, they're going to have some trouble backtracking off this conversation. I think a lot of people are going to back away from the zoo for a little bit. And under here, the Ace of Wands, it was a dumb idea. What are you getting on your side, Rick?
A lot of humor. I really am. I mean, I'm looking at all of that, and as we were saying in one of the videos we did earlier on, we were talking about that. I don't have a great deal of knowledge of reversals, but when I'm looking at them things, I'm always like wanting to take a couple of steps back with this and playing with my head as it tends to be when Spirit work with me. I just got Michael Jackson being resurrected there in my head just for a moment, and he was moonwalking backwards. But there was just no mileage marker, no kilometer marker there of how far they're going to have to go back to try and retrace the steps. Yeah. Nobody's going to take, I don't think anybody's going to take personal responsibility for anything here. I think you've got it in a nutshell in the sense that they've tried something. Like I said to you off camera, maybe they've ordered it off Wish or eBay and it's turned up in a package representing something, and they've decided they're going to run with it because there's not the outlay that you would have to have for a panda. But it's just, I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking, good effort, probably a lot of thought that's gone into it, but execution, absolute garbage. Would you get your little spin doctor on there that's going to turn around and just go, well, what we did it for was to just illustrate? Nah, I don't think so. And like you say, with the 10 of Swords there, it's going to be one of these where you're pulling that. And as the way that I would put it over here, I would be, my next step would be now to order a cloth so that I could wipe the egg off my face. You know, as you just go, well, it was my idea, as he sort of hastens his way down the stairs and goes to hide. So I think there'll be a lot of embarrassment. But I think if they inject a lot of humour into it, and the majority of people are not going to take this very seriously, but yeah, dumb idea, excellently executed. And the results that they've got speak for themselves. I think it's amazing. I really do.
I think it's amazing too. Let's take a look and see if this is. I mean, we have so many events here of dogs masquerading as different things. We've got some speculation on that. The last July, that eastern province of Zhejiang, sorry. With the question about the sun bear, is this a common practice? Like, are they is the Chinese population kind of poised for this kind of tomfoolery? We'll call it tomfoolery.
I don't know about you, Anna, but it's going to make my next visit to a zoo interesting. When you're looking for a random camel just stood in the corner on tea break having a smoke, or a panda there stood there, I'm just going to have to go to use the facilities because being in the middle of that tyre is not doing it for me anywhere. Oh dear, I love it.
I love it too. So, is this a common practice? That Queen of Pentacles is saying a lot to me. That's saying, we need to get some change into the machine. So, why don't we do these kinds of presentations? The Three of Pentacles working together. So, we've got the groomer on staff here. But truly, I think they're trying with this Page of Cups. I think the effort really is to provide some kind of entertainment, and some kind of display. I know my kids when they were little. I mean, even now, I think they would be delighted to see a panda dog. What about you? How would your kids react to that?
My kids are older now, but they're all animal lovers. So I think they would be in the same sort of mold now, that it'd be a novelty. And to say the whole thing with this spread there, I don't feel, and this is going intuitively, I don't feel that it's been done for any sort of darker purposes. I just keep hearing this sort of, they've done it on a budget. It's a bit of a skinflint attempt to provide the whole experience, and they're just going, yeah, but it's about $500 worth of kit that we need there. What's the budget, guys? Well, $4.50, and I'm still expecting change. So there's just that sense of, right, what we can get you to believe, the mind's not going to question. So it's kind of like a surface skim that if it sort of passes muster as we walk past, much like me and you, if we hadn't got our glasses on, oh, it looks reasonably all right. Yeah, it looks like a panda. Right, put my glasses on. Oh, right, it's maybe not a panda, but I got it for £4.50, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Exactly. So, Rick, I do have one important question for you, and I want you to tap into the dogs on this one. How do the dogs feel about being transformed into wildlife? Can you get a bead on some of these puppies and how they feel about it?
I mean, animal communication is a skill on its own, and I do know people that specialise in that. But as a spiritual worker, I'm a massive dog lover myself. They're a massive part of my life. Anybody who follows anything that I do will realise that my dogs have been a great influence on my spiritual pathway. I can't imagine that they're particularly happy about it. Dogs for me represent loyalty. They're loyal to their owners. All that they want is they give love and they expect little in return. So this sort of where they've got to perform, who's their owners? Because they're a commodity when it comes to a zoo or things like that. Yeah, your keepers will step in and give them a decent standard of life, I would hope. But if I was actually tapping into an individual's dog, I think there would be issues for the union to address. But conditions, not so good. Not being fed the right amount of diet, too long in the sun, and various things like that. So I know I'm making light of it, but my real sense with it is that the dogs wouldn't be particularly happy about it, because to me there's a little bit of unnatural. element to it. The research that I did where I was looking at it, there was a big hoo-ha about the use of the dye and whether it was okay and whether it had any longer term effects. Well, if you took the dog back to its original species, I can't imagine that somebody walked past something there and went, "Oh, that looked good on that," and then I just can't get my head around the thought process with that. So I can't imagine that the dog's going, sees that person coming towards them. Oh yeah, I'll have a short back and sides there, and if you wouldn't mind chucking me some of that purple hair dye on, that'll make me more appealing. So I'm sorry, I'm siding with the dogs here. That they're not going to be happy. Whether that's true or not, we'll have to get a dog on the special guest at some point and ask them directly.
Well, I'm a little disappointed. I actually am really keen on getting one of these. Like I'm just and Greg had a chow when he was growing up, a dog, and he loved him, but he said he was dumb as a box of hammers. So but I think it's charming. Having worked in the animal industry, I can't imagine that the dogs really enjoy this. Some dogs love to get groomed. Your labs, they love having a shower. Golden retrievers, if they're taught to go to the groomer and not get matted, they actually love it too. My Rottweilers had always loved bathing, and Raven, even our Raven now, she's a border collie mix. She loves getting groomed by me. I take her outside. We have the blow dryer, we have the whole setup, so she gets a day at the spa and she gets to prance around and be fancy. And I always laugh. I say, well, when I fluff her up, her ruff gets really big, and she gets like a wolf cut. So she gets very fancy and she looks like a wolf. So it brings out the inner wolf in her. So, but I think that this is a riot. I hope that the dogs are treated well, as do you. But we wanted to bring this fun little thing to you. Let us know in the comments how you feel about these fun little featurettes. This is just a little bit of news with a little bit of psychic stuff thrown in. But we thought it was charming. We thought it was cute. Rick, where can people reach you if they would like to get a reading from you personally?
Not about your dogs, though. mediumrick007@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And as always, you can reach me at fortunecookiestarot.com if you'd like to book a reading with me. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe and set up the notification. We do live format news of the week on Thursdays at 1 o'clock New York time. For now, but with demand, we may have to do it a little bit more often. We already have a lot of demand. We will do breaking news. So those of us that are available, we will jump on. But thank you so much for tuning into this. Again, I'm Annabelle from Fortune Cookies Tarot, and my awesome colleague, Rick Paul, the waistcoat psychic medium, fallen angel, great guy. We're going to see you guys in the future.
In the future.
Bye now.